Good morning again, everybody. It's lovely to see you all here. I'm going to start by acknowledging some equipment and therefore move into just acknowledging some wonderful, wonderful people. We have Solomon here who made our altar. We have Solomon and Chad, where Chad's in the kitchen. Christian's made the riser, the flowers, courtesy of Sokai and where is she? Coco. Coco, there you are. Amit, who sends the newsletter out, so you all know where to come today, and Havana, who just did such a wonderful job leading the service today. Thank you, Havana. And then, of course, Chad. I actually brought this up as well because Chad just got us new audio equipment. So hopefully this will just result in a much, much better Zoom experience for everybody. Take us a while to get used to it. That's wonderful. All right, so today I'm going to go to the Heart Sutra, and I'm going to look just at the last couple of lines here. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha. Gone, gone, completely gone, gone to the other shore, awakening, swaha. We'll talk about what this all means. I heard something the other day. It's actually a talk by a Chan teacher, Guagu, who I was spending a lot of time with, in which he talked about this. It's actually, he's done a series of talks on the Heart Sutra, 17 of them. They're each an hour and a half, so you've got to be fairly dedicated to make your way through to this piece. But that's, you get there. And he said something as he talked about this, like, oh, duh. I've been chanting this thing for like 20 years or 30 years or something. It's like, duh. Had the same experience when I read a book by Chan Master Huai Chan, I think, Huai Nin, his name is, on the Diamond Sutra. And some of you attended the series I did on the Diamond Sutra a couple of years ago. The Diamond Sutra starts off, unlike pretty much any other sutra you'll ever read, starts off with the Buddha just going out, begging for food, coming back, eating his food, sitting down, holding up his robe, meditating. Incredibly ordinary, incredibly ordinary. And it's just in how the awakened life is lived, completely free, completely unattached. So that's the first. There's 32 chapters in this. Thank you, Chad. There's 32 chapters in this. That's the first. The second one, everybody else is with all of his disciples and so forth. And Subhuti gets up, circumambulates him, bears his right shoulder, does a bunch of prostrations, says, world honored one, world honored one, how kind and generous and compassionate you are in the way you teach the disciples and the bodhisattvas. I'm going to ask you just one thing. If you could, for everybody here, please tell us how a bodhisattva should control their mind and how they should let their mind dwell. And Buddha says, how right you are, how, I look after the teaching everybody. And yes, I'd be happy to tell you how bodhisattvas should control their mind and how they should let their minds dwell. Here, let me tell you. And then Subhuti says, we eagerly await your answer. Please tell us. And then the Buddha launches into the next 30 chapters. But Subhuti doesn't need to ask that. It doesn't fit in there. If it's like, I will tell you and then I'm going to teach you, he teaches them. This Chan Master said the whole point was, let me show you. And Subhuti missed it. That was the teaching right there. So, oh, of course, I've never seen that in any other commentary. And it is so obviously what it's meant to be teaching. This is the teaching, not capable of being articulated. That shows up later. Vimalakirti uses that trope in a sutra, Vimalakirti Sutra. Vimalakirti Nirdesa Sutra, and then there are a whole bunch of other places it shows up in Mahayana teachings. So I had the same realization here with this. I'll get to it. The context. So Buddhist teaching, first of all, his core teaching, if you go into the Pali Canon, is it's letting go. It's just letting go. So you find something you're attached to, let it go, let go. Non-attachment. And the way that shows up, he says, the Buddha teaches by the middle way. And what is this middle way? The middle way is avoiding the two extremes of existence and non-existence. Shows up in a lot of the teachings. I'm really going to the Kaccayana Sutta here mostly, but it shows up a lot of time in the Pali Canon. What are these two extremes? The extreme of existence and non-existence. Existence is liking something, holding on to something, wanting something to come into existence, wanting to make something become, calling this a bell. I've made it a thing. If I just ring it and respond, it's not a thing. Nothing I'm holding on to. It's just action, function. Stop making things things. Avoiding existence, avoiding the extreme of non-existence. When I say it's empty of being a bell, it's made up of stardust, of everything else, of the people who made it, of the materials that were assembled, of the factory it was put together in, and the trucks that brought it here, and the store that sold it to us, or whatever. It doesn't mean it's nothing. It's not nihilistic. Quite the opposite. It is vibrant and alive by not having this fixed nature. This is the extreme of non-existence. Avoid these two extremes. Teach by the middle. This is the teaching. So what then happened over the next several hundred years after Buddha died, a whole bunch of schools grew up. And then you had this body of literature called Abhidharma, which is like the philosophy of Buddhism, all the lists and how we should look at it and how we should practice it and study it. And some of that became somewhat nerdy and academic. And a couple of those schools, as they worked down their categorization and their lists, the dharmas became rarefied. So it's like there's nothing here. This is made up of the five skandhas, the five aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So there's nothing to hold on to here. It's made up of these things. And consciousness, well, let's go to perceptions. Perceptions are made up of things like anger and greed and jealousy. There's nothing there either. But if you start writing these lists and studying these lists, you can start holding on to those and making things out of them. Just like particle physicists are finding today, we had this atomic nature of physics, this atomic nature of existence. There were these fixed particles that were atoms that made things up. And then in the late 19th century, people started saying, hang on, that's not the way it works at all. And then into the early 20th century, these things have wave properties. These atoms, they're made up of smaller bits. And those smaller bits have wave properties. And actually, it's mostly space. It's mostly nothing there. And it doesn't even exist until consciousness shows up. So particle physics is starting to unpack this atomic nature. But in these early schools of Buddhism, that atomic nature started to happen. So the Heart Sutra and all the Prajnaparamita literature is a reaction against that. It's like, dude, you've missed the point. You missed the point. No existence doesn't just mean no, let go here. It means let go of all the other stuff. To say I'm made up of form, feeling, perception, etc., doesn't mean those are things we should analyze. It means simply this is not fixed. Let go of all of that. Let go of everything. Rest in the complete freedom of not knowing and not having to know. Accepting it's not knowable, which allows everything to flower and be incredibly beautiful. For us to connect directly with this beautiful manifestation of this universe, this unknowable, incomprehensible universe. This bell contains the whole universe. Both in that construction of it's made up of stardust out of the Big Bang, added all together, the whole universe actually contributed, the whole existence of the universe contributed to the existence of this bell. But every conscious experience is a conscious experience of its own universe. Each of us is dreaming our universe into existence. Buddha means to wake up, which means wake up from what? This dream, illusory nature of the world we live in. Each of us is dreaming our universe into existence, each person in here right now. And the incredible thing is, the universe you're dreaming into existence has everybody else in this room in it, and each of those other people is simultaneously dreaming their universe into existence. These all interpenetrate and overlap. It's incredible and incomprehensible. So let go of all of the things you think you know, all of them, and allow yourself to just simply rest in this wonder of not knowing and not feeling you have to know. So we get to Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Generally translated, as I said, gone, gone, completely gone, gone to the other shore, awakening, Swaha, like an Amen or something. This is a mantra, and we've had a few lines about mantra. There was a period in the think it's like the 3rd through the 5th century, something like that, where mantras started to show up in Mahayana Buddhism. And if you look at a lot of the sutra, a lot of Mahayana sutras, there are mantras in there. If you go to the Shurangama Sutra, there's like a 2-page mantra in there. It's a sutra written in Chinese, and probably originally in Sanskrit, but it exists in Chinese. I don't even think it exists in the Sanskrit anymore. But there was translation back and forth in these early first 5 or 6 centuries after CE. In there's like a 2 or 3-page mantra. It goes on. And it is in there in butchered, transliterated Sanskrit. People have done translations of it. And like most mantras you will come across in Buddhist texts of the time, if you read the translations, it's like, we invoke the gods, we invoke the spirits, we invoke all the rakshas and nagas and all these beings from other realms to come and protect us, and the angry ones can go and defend us, and the kind ones can be. So there's just all of this mystical invocation. The Lotus Sutra, there's a couple of chapters in the Lotus Sutra where there are a number of different mantras. There's probably 8 or 10 mantras scattered through there. None of them are very long, but they are gibberish. They're just sounds. I don't think anybody has done a credible job of going back to those mantras in the Lotus Sutra and saying what the original source words were. They're just vocalizations. So people learn these just as magical protective sounds. Mantra evolved into Tantra. So mantra, this magic, it's a transformational magic. We're calling energy from outside to bring transformation about. Tantra is taking the tough stuff, the difficult stuff, and directly transforming it. It's the practice of transformation. So mantrayana led into and influenced this tantrayana. This mantra is different though, because it's being chanted in Sanskrit within the body of it. When it was translated to Chinese and Japanese, it remains in the Sanskrit. But the original text, it's a Sanskrit sutra, and this is very clear, understandable Sanskrit at the bottom of it. And when you go across to the Japanese version, that's not Japanese. That's like transliterated Chinese. So it's all just in China, in Japanese, in the sutra, it's called the Makahanya Haramita Shingyo. It's not hard to see how Makahanya Haramita Shingyo is Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra. Makahanya Haramita Shingyo, right? I mean, it's just transliteration. So that's the way that comes across in Japanese. So transliterating in that context is turning the whole thing just into a chant, to losing not staying on the meaning. When we look at the meaning here, though, given that the meaning is so clear here, it's not, to me, and this is where I think Guagu's right, it's not got the valence of this invocation of magical beings. It's not got the same transformative invocation. Read it at face value. Gone, gone. It's saying, let go of all of your vexations. Vexations, dukkha, suffering. Vexations I like as a translation because it makes this kind of a thing out of it, which is the problem with our stress. We're making things out of it. Our vexations is allowing that we are making things out of things that are not things. And that's precisely the problem. Gone, gone. Our vexations, our stress, our suffering is gone. If you follow this practice, let go. Don't hold on to this sense of a me. Don't even hold on to the sense of any of these long lists of constituent parts. The 6 sense realms, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Well, the 6 sense gates, the realms of the consciousness. The realms are the objects, and then the consciousnesses are those which hold the realms. So you've got these 18 spheres of senses, the aggregates, the 12-link chain of causation, which is in that Kaccayana Sutra, that's the what is teaching by the middle. It is simply this dependent origination. That's how it happens, and we unpack it, and if no this, no that, no death, no birth, no becoming, etc., all the way back to no ignorance. We go backwards through it, and we unpack it all and let go of it all. That's the middle. So just let go of all of the list, all of the things we've created to help us understand. Let go of it all. Gone, gone, completely gone. Completely gone. Let it all go. Body awakening. And then swaha is actually, it's a word that's used in the Brahmanic tradition, and it's a word that's used as a performative. It's not so much an amen, which is, it's like the end of something and asking for that final blessing. The swaha is more performative. So let it be, let it happen. Let us let go of our vexations. Let us fully and completely and absolutely let go of all of our hindrances. When you sit on the cushion, stuff comes up. It's not you. It's just not you. We get caught in these stories when they come up, and we engage in conversation with them. A feeling will come up. Something I didn't do this morning before I left the house comes up, and we engage in a conversation with it. We're starting to reify it when we do that. It becomes a real thing when we engage it in conversation, when we start piling more thoughts on top of it. We're giving it solidity, we're giving it substance, which it does not inherently have. Engaging in conversation with it creates a resistance, creates a separation, creates a me who is separate from the thing that I'm looking at. This thought becomes the me side of this. Let go of all of that. It's just a thought. Just a thought. Can be a really useful thought. If you left the gas on, okay, we probably need to do something about that because a house may burn down or there may be beings in the house who are at risk. Yes, can be a really useful thought. But the use of the thought is in what we do with it in the world. If it doesn't have that use, if it has that use, how do we engage with it and how do we act on it to make things good? Deal with that, then put it aside. If there's a problem, deal with the problem. No more problem. If there's a problem, you try and deal with it and can't fix it, no more problem. If there's not a problem, don't make one by holding on to it. Just let it go. Gate, gate. Let it all go. All of it. Once we've let it all go, we are free. Completely free. And the beauty of this, once you are free to pick everything back up again. Because once you're free, it's not going to stick anymore. You're completely free to pick everything back up and use it. And that will be done because we're free. There's no more selfing going on here. There's this subjective experience which allows us to experience the world, allows us to see and connect with the suffering of others, moves us into a place where the only response to that is a compassion response. So from that posture, once we've let go of everything, stuff arises, we can pick it up and use it freely to help other beings, to help bring all of this suffering to an end. With nothing to attain, we let go even of the Noble Eightfold Path. We let go of the idea of awakening because there's nobody to wake up. Awakening is already here. It's already right here in with each of you, each of us. We've just got these thoughts that we're laying on top that are just obstructing us, getting in the way. Let them all go. Freedom will just manifest naturally in and of itself. With nothing to attain, Bodhisattva relies on this prajna paramita, on this practice of letting go, complete letting go. And thus the mind is without hindrance. Without hindrance. There's nothing to obstruct once you're free. Everything is possible. Nothing to obstruct. And without hindrance, there is no fear. Do you remember the three generosities? Three levels of generosity in Buddhism. The first is material stuff, which of course is important, because if people don't have enough food, they don't have shelter, they don't have medicine, they don't have clothes, people don't have the basics, then they can't move into the practices that lead to freedom. So dealing with the basics is important. Material generosity. Second generosity with the Dharma, offering teachings, helping people find a path to their freedom. we all come here. The third level is freedom from fear. Freedom from fear is the highest of these three because it is the perfection of the teachings. What are we afraid of? And probably the operative word in there is we rather than afraid, because there's no me in the middle of this. Fear can't exist. Fear is all about protecting this, protecting my identity, protecting against my fears. There's a self-referential element in fear. There's this array of subjective experiences that happen. The mistake is reifying the idea of a subject, a self, in the middle of these. That's the problem. So if we get rid of that subject, all of these subjective experiences continue to arise. And in this freedom, we are free to use all of those. But with no subject in the middle that needs to be protected, there's no fear. And that's the inverted view. Far beyond all inverted views, one realizes nirvana. That's the inverted view. The inverted view is that there's a something in the middle of all of these experiences. And this is not to deny our experiences. It's not to say we don't have personalities, we don't have friends and families, but there does not have to be this solid, concrete I in the middle of this. We are much freer and more caring and more effective in our relationships if we get that self-referential element out of the middle of it. Gone, completely gone. Let go of it, all of it. Doesn't mean move into a nihilism. It means just don't let it stick. Don't let it stick. And that's the path to freedom. So as I said, that was like an aha moment for us. Oh, how have I missed that? It's so obvious. All right. That's what I have for you today. I will press stop.